Hey Internet, Inferno 10 here. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of the iPhone's GPS navigation apps. Today it's going to be NAVIGON's Mobile Navigator version 1.6.0. Now this is the first version that NAVIGON's outputted, which can support the new iOS 4 operating system as well as the iPhone 4. So let's take a look at some of these new features in this latest update. So I'm going to start up the application from a cold boot, and what's new is, what's improved is the boot up time. Previously it would take upwards to 12 seconds to boot up the application, and now what you saw there is maybe about a 4-second boot up time from a cold boot. So if I go out of the application, and let's go for instance to the App Store, and I go load up, let's just load up the NAVIGON application. You see that version 1.6.0, which is iOS 4 tested. If we go the switch over to NAVIGON, it's instantaneously back, and that's because of the fast app switching support that they're taking advantage of there. So another new feature is some iPhone 4 support. So the iPhone 4, which this is, has a new Retina display, which is a very high resolution display in a 3.5-inch screen. So if this wasn't optimized for the iPhone 4, all the graphics, buttons, text, and such would look very pixelated. But because they increased the resolution of all their graphics, it looks very nice now. So if I, for instance, load up the map looks very crisp. All these little graphics, all the text here looks very crisp, and so that's very nice to have. If I go back out now, let's take a look at another feature here, and what we're going to do now is actually try navigating somewhere. So I'm going to load up my favorites list here, and you can tell that I'm a pretty big Starbucks addict because of all of these various ones here. So let's go to this Starbucks on Union. Now something that's changed in this latest version is, are a couple new additions. So this is a new screen here, and what you see is one of the new features called Clever Parking. So if you pick a destination, now you can also see nearby parking spots if I were to click on it. So these are all parking spots that are near my destination. So I'm going to actually go back, and let's actually start the navigation to that place and let that go. So I'm going to show another new feature. So I'm going to go ahead and just, for instance, add another destination. Let's just add another one there. So I could have picked that parking. So I'm going to let this load a little. My internet's not so great here, but that's the second new feature that you're seeing there. So they also added weather support. So it shows you the current weather conditions in the destination you're trying to go to. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that and let that navigate us. So let's just let that load.
In 400 feet, turn left onto Geary Boulevard.
Now that's one of the features I really like about NAVIGON's app.
Now turn left onto Geary Boulevard.
If you look at, say, NAVIGON's application suite, it's not so good. I'm going to actually cancel it out because it kind of doesn't like simulating multiple destinations here. But one of the new features that I like, or it's not new, but it's something that really sets NAVIGON apart, is their text-to-speech. And their text-to-speech speaks in complete sentences, which it's a small thing, but it's nice being able to hear something that makes sense to you in English, rather than what TomTom does.
In 0.2 miles, turn right onto O'Farrell Street.
So that's NAVIGON. What they do, they speak complete sentences. TomTom kind of speaks in broken type of English, so it'll say in 300 feet, turn right, so-and-so street, or sometimes it'll just say turn right, and you know.
Now turn right onto O'Farrell Street.
It's curt, but you know, I like to be spoken in English at some point. So for me, I like how NAVIGON's text-to-speech works. And you kind of see in this part of the map here, you notice it looks like it's not flat. That's because it's not. Another new feature that came out in a previous revision of NAVIGON that other apps don't have is what's called Sorry, I'm trying to let this thing speak and not get in its way, but let me cancel out of that. Let me just show the map again. So that's called the 3D panoramic view, and what that does, you can definitely see it here in this display as well. If I zoom out, it's let me further zoom out so you can actually see some topographic features, and I can't pan around at the moment, but it shows you a 3D contour view of where you're actually driving. So it's a better representation of like the environment you're in. It's a $9.99 edition, so if you don't buy it, you're just going to kind of get the normal 3D flat view, but it's nice to kind of see that feature in action. So this is, for me, one of the huge features that I'm going to show you now. I'm going to go ahead and start navigating again. So let's say I'm navigating and someone calls me. One of the biggest pet peeve features that I've had, it exits out of the application, you take your call. During the call you can't get any navigation because you're on a call. It actually exited out of the application.
In 0.2 miles, turn right onto O'Farrell Street.
Now what you're hearing there is the background navigation support that NAVIGON added. This is another iOS 4 feature, so for me this is a huge deal. This makes the application so much more usable.
Now turn right onto O'Farrell Street.
Because you could be doing multiple things on your phone now, although if you're driving you really shouldn't. But it's nice to be able to, for me, take a call and still have navigation being spoken to. Now it will cut into the conversation. It'll speak like it was right there. So it kind of gets awkward at times when you're with the other party, but it's better than having nothing, I would say. I think what NAVIGON,
turn left onto Powell Street.
What NAVIGON should do is actually maybe change the way they speak, make it kind of a more like a beep indicator or some sort of audible signal that they give out rather than speaking it out, so it doesn't cut into your conversation. But that's an improvement for later on. I hope they'll implement. So I'm going to actually go back to the application, and so when we go back to it, it starts off where it continues on after it updates. But for me, background navigation is one of the biggest things that they've added, so I highly recommend that you look into this application if you're looking into GPS navigation. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out, and thank you for viewing. If you have any questions, you can either leave a comment or check out the application page on the App Store. Thanks.